Fraud, deception, America, Trump. A call to arms has rung out from the enclaves of r/the Donald to the People's Republic of 4chan's Pole. We must save our president, they cry out. Trump has labored over our interests, sacrificing himself for the common white man, they scream. As much as I get chaotic popcorn-stuffing pleasure out of the good old insurrection, my bleeding heart forces me to examine the facts of the Trump presidency, such that some poor innocent Trumpers don't get themselves in some potentially naughty situations. One fact that must be gotten out of the way is that Trump lost purely upon the backs of white men. In nearly every demographic except white men, Trump was able to make gains compared to 2016. This year he lost about 5% of white support. What? Who? How? How could this be? Didn't Trump build the wall, you say? Didn't he stop the flow of both legal and illegal immigrants? Didn't he bring back jobs? And, well, we aren't in any new wars right now, so his foreign policy must be good, right? The wall, or should I say, the border fence, Trump was unable to build that great, beautiful wall that bought him his presidency. Indeed, most of the fence put in place during his administration was already appropriated under the Obama administration. Turning the page to white-collar immigration, Trump has flip-flopped several times in his presidency on where he stands with H-1B visas, depending on if it's his son-in-law Kushner or his former advisor Bannon. Views on American corporations saturating the technical skills market, indeed to lower their wages, has never been consistent. The demographic Trump lost the most this time around was the Rust Belt white men who hoped Trump would bring back manufacturing to the United States. Trump did not have the willpower nor the care to do the needful and apply heavy tariffs on American corporations who sacrificed the American worker in order to get a few extra yennies by hiring cheap Chinese labor. On foreign policy, Trump is in his usual manner of both relying heavily upon his advisors and swapping them out frequently, and this situation led to several potential conflicts with Syria, Iran, and Venezuela. One thing I will credit Trump on is that he was quick in all these situations to understand the American public didn't want to get involved in any of these places. Last but not least is the narrative about Antifa, Twitter censorship, and moral degeneracy generally. All these things that Trumpians fear will happen under a Biden presidency has happened under Trump and continues to this very day to happen. Indeed, Trump will always respond with his classic phrase, "I'm looking into it." If you are thinking of going to your local capital with your military surplus gear and your custom .22 rifle to protest, I must ask you, who are you fighting for? I sympathize what you are fighting for, but to risk your well-being and the well-being of others for a man who refuses to stand for you is tantamount to the poor bastards who died on the fields of Flanders.